Jose Aldo and Conor McGregor are cool once again. The two had some beef recently after Jose boxed Jeremy Stephens to a draw. Conor tweeted out suggesting that he box Aldo. Aldo responded saying Conor is an asshole. He only talks now because he has a fight booked, and does so to sell anything, not to actually fight. He's a son of a bitch. Jose says that at that time he was very heated over the boxing match, and actually ended up apologizing to Conor. Aldo went on to say, "I was a little heated. I had just rewatched the match in the locker room and I had won. Everybody said it. And right after, the reporter asked me about McGregor's comments, and I hadn't seen what Conor had said. I called him names, laughed a lot because of that. But when I got to Brazil, I messaged him apologizing because I saw it wasn't his intention to challenge me. He was trying to give me a push. I misunderstood his intentions, but we're cool again. Conor is my friend. I wish him all the best." Jose says that he's even open to training with Conor. He continued, "Yes, why not? I have a lot to learn in boxing. There's some great Irish boxers, so if I have the opportunity to go to Ireland and train with Conor and the Irish, I'm super open to it, especially pro boxing. It's a new world, and I have to learn from the best. Conor has good boxing. He fought Mayweather in boxing, so he has a lot to teach me." Ali Abdelaziz has already negotiated with Mayweather's staff, and it was agreed with the Saudi Arabia people, the Sheikh. But I think they're liking what I'm showing in boxing, and it's creating a euphoria to aim at bigger things as well. We're not past the idea of boxing Mayweather. It might happen, but we have other plans first. I wanted to build a career in boxing like everybody does, to start against easier opponents and earn experience until you get there. But given the name I have, it's hard to take the same path everybody else does. We're trying to choose the right fight. Jeremy was way heavier than me now. I was 157 pounds when I went to the arena on fight night, and he was over 177. There was a huge difference. As soon as the fight ended, Ali said we won. But we had to fight on the right weight class. I'll fight at 140, but since new opportunities have come around in boxing, maybe this Mayweather match will have to wait a little bit. Michael Bisping on the Believe You Me podcast gives his take on Clay Guida faking his retirement just for some time on the mic this past weekend. Bisping says that people give him flack all the time for cutting fighters' post-fight interviews off short, but he's not the one running the show.
But you got to consider, they are running a live TV event, you know what I'm saying? And so there was a lot of fights on. There was 14 fights Saturday night. And when it looks like somebody like Clay Guida is going to retire, you know, they will make the time. And by the way, I'm saying this, I'm like letting you in on it, because I said letting you in. I mean, people listening, if they don't know, it's pretty straightforward. But if they don't know, I'm going to explain it. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on. It's live TV, there's advertisers, there's all kinds of stuff, there's schedules, there's the next program and all the rest of it. They have to condense it and fit it into a certain amount of time. And they have a certain amount of advertisers that have agreed that they're going to be advertised on there and all the rest of it. But when somebody like Clay Guida, and I'm sure there's a lot more to it than that as well, when someone like Clay Guida, who's had such a long tenure in the UFC, you know, and he's a legend of the sport, he's going to retire, then they go, right, well, we got to give him his time. We got to give him his time. So they're making changes on the fly. And then, you know, I don't think Clay meant anything bad about it. You know what I mean? But just that was kind of like why Dana said that. And when Dana said it, I fully understood. But I saw tons of memes and stuff the next day. Oh, Dana's just being grouchy and grumpy. It's like, well, there's live TV. It's like, another example is like, sometimes I'll go in and I'll ask someone a question in the ring. I'll ask them 2 questions, and then I've got to get out of that. People, they try and grab the microphone and they want to say something, right? And I don't let them say it. And I get messages in my inbox all the time. People going, "Bisping, you're a prick. Why don't you just let him have that last word?" It's like, hold on. Do you think I run the UFC? Do you think I'm making these decisions? Oh, you know what? I like this guy. I'm going to let him have an extended amount of time, or don't like this guy. I'm not going to give him many questions. You know what I mean? I have an earpiece in and I am being directed from my earpiece precisely how many questions to ask, when to wrap it up. And sometimes they're like, wrap, we've got to go to break. And if they just cut to break, it's sloppy, it's messy. You know what I'm saying? So there you go, boys and girls. A little bit of info for you.
Floyd Mayweather wants to sign Francis Ngannou to Mayweather Promotions. Speaking to BetOnline.ag, Floyd said, "I would love to work with Ngannou. I would love to sign him to Mayweather Promotions. He's a very skilled guy, and if he wants to fight one of the top heavyweight guys, he should do it." Robert Whittaker is determined to get that third fight with Israel Adesanya. In a recent interview with MMAfighting.com, Rob said, "I understand the position that I'm in. I understand that I fought him twice and I want that third fight, and I have to ruin a lot of other people's days to get it, then I'll do that. I really want to fight Izzy again. I really want to fight him specifically. I want to beat him for the title. I didn't realize how much I wanted to beat him in particular until it could have gone another way. until there was a possibility I could have been fighting Pereira for the belt. Which is funny because I know it's like, do you want to fight him or fight for the title? I always said it doesn't matter. I'll fight anyone, I just want to fight for the belt. In actuality, watching that fight and what could have been, I realized no, I want to fight Israel. I'm going to beat Izzy the next time we come across. It's funny how important that stood out to me. Chael Sonnen explains why Israel Adesanya is the greatest middleweight of all time. Chael discusses the fight between Izzy and Anderson Silva. On the MMA Hour, Chael said, I believe that he is. Those guys fought, so that's where it's a hard time for me. When two guys fight, and then you argue that the guy that lost is better, and then you try to get smart with it and go, well, but it wasn't in their prime, it's just weird. There's a respect that you have to pay to the opponent, or what's the point of doing it? What's the point of coming out and saying who's better? What are people going to do when it's Adesanya versus Pereira? They're going to say it's Adesanya? Well, the other guy did what he did, but he did it 3 times to him. It's one of those spots where the head-to-head matchup has to matter, or why are we doing it? And Adesanya won. It's a really hard spot to be in Adesanya's position. It's really hard when you're fighting your idol, right? And Adesanya was 16 years old when I had my business with Anderson. He was a 16-year-old skinny kid from New Zealand and he kept tweeting. I kept seeing his tweets and he was taking Anderson's side. He didn't like me and he didn't like the mouth. It was one of these things. 16 years old and all these years later, you're standing across from the guy that you looked up to, that got you into the sport. His poster is on your wall. There's a lot against Izzy in that fight too. Not just Father Time that was against Anderson. It goes both ways. They fought it was head-to-head, and he won. I don't know, I think you have to live with that. And you know who'd back me up is Anderson. Anderson Silva wouldn't tell you, make an excuse for me. He'd tell you I fought him fair and square. He won. Israel Adesanya had a message for Alex Pereira via Instagram and fired back at people giving him flack for quote-unquote over-celebrating on social media. In the background, the song Let It Go is playing. Izzy highlighted a comment saying, for anyone that says Izzy won't let go of it needs to remember, who wouldn't let go of Alex Pereira's win in 2017? That I guarantee none of you watched. He's the champ. Let him enjoy this. Izzy wrote, Alex started this, he didn't let it go. Someone scroll on his page. See how many posts he's made about me and what the oldest one is. He followed up with all these posts for Pereira over the years. He wrote, I only scrolled back to 2018. Izzy ended it off with this video. This was prior to their first fight in the UFC. He wrote, he gonna have to hold this L. And that's gonna wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post future ones. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. The first one's from the Matic3893. It's in reference to Israel Adesanya going off on his ex-girlfriend yesterday. It says Izzy kept receipts like Johnny Depp. The second one's in reference to the potential fight between Paulo Costa and Jan Blachowicz. It says I can't imagine Paulo actually fighting twice in the same year. And the final one says Izzy went from living in an anime to a soap opera real quick. Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured on the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. If you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen to get caught up. And make sure to go subscribe to our second channel where we post our exclusive MMA interviews.